There are stories that start with joy and end with despair. But there are others rare, powerful stories that begin in flames. Stories of those who were burned, not by fire, but by life, by betrayal, by loss, by the unbearable weight of existence. You see, the spiritual life of people who were burned and reborn is not a soft path. It is not the journey of the untested. It is the story of those who have been shattered and scorched, and yet somehow chose to rise. You may not remember the exact moment it happened, but something inside you does. The moment when everything collapsed, when the people you trusted turned away, when your identity dissolved, when the dream you held so tightly turned to ash in your hands. That was the fire. And it didn't just burn what was around you, it burned you. It took your name, your certainty, your sense of control. And in that moment, you thought it would be the end. But it wasn't. It was only the beginning. We don't choose to be burned. No one wakes up and asks for their life to be dismantled. But the soul has a different language than the mind. It doesn't seek comfort, it seeks truth. And sometimes, the only way to reach truth is to lose everything false. This is the sacred paradox. What feels like destruction is often initiation. The flames are not there to punish you. They are there to purify, to reveal what cannot be destroyed, what remains when everything else is gone. Have you ever asked yourself that? The spiritual life of the burned and reborn begins in the ruins, in the silence after the scream, in the numbness after the storm. There's no light yet, no clarity, just the echo of everything that was. And in that place we meet ourselves, not the self we performed, but the raw, unfiltered self beneath it all. The part of us we buried, the part of us we forgot. And in that painful reconnection, something ancient stirs. A memory, a knowing, a seed of something that cannot be killed. You may have thought you were weak because you broke, but breaking is not weakness, it's the beginning of alchemy. The soul does not grow through safety. It grows through surrender, through the letting go of what no longer fits. And when you've been burned, you no longer have the luxury of pretending. You are stripped bare, and in that nakedness, you become honest. Have you noticed? The most authentic people you know are the ones who've suffered deeply, not because they became bitter, but because they allowed the fire to transform them. Rebirth does not happen all at once. It is not a single moment of epiphany. It is a slow, sacred unfolding, a daily choosing to live again, to love again, to believe again, even when you're still carrying the ashes of your past. There will be days when you feel like you're rising, and there will be days when the weight pulls you back down. But both are part of the journey. The phoenix doesn't just fly, it learns to walk first, with wings still smoldering.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
In this path, we learn the difference between healing and escaping. Escaping numbs the pain. Healing feels the pain. Escaping runs, healing stays. And when you choose healing, you are choosing courage. Because it takes courage to sit with your own ruins, to breathe in the smoke of your former life, to touch the wounds without flinching. That is the work, the real work, the sacred work. And no one can do it for you. You begin to notice that some things no longer call to you. Certain people, places, habits, they fall away. Not because you're better than them, but because you've outgrown them. The fire changed your chemistry. What once fed your ego now starves your soul. And so you walk away, not in judgment, but in reverence, because you know what it cost you to awaken, and you will not dim your light to fit someone else's comfort. Have you ever looked at yourself after the fire and not recognized who you were? That's because you were never that person to begin with. That was the mask, the armor, the performance. Now what you see is real, raw, sacred. You are no longer interested in pretending. You've seen too much, felt too much, lost too much. You don't have time for anything less than truth. And in that truth, you discover something unexpected: peace. Not the peace that comes from having all the answers, but the peace that comes from no longer needing them. You begin to trust the unknown, to trust yourself, to trust the intelligence of the path even when it makes no sense, because you've been through the fire. And you know now, if you survived that, you can survive anything. This is where your spiritual life deepens, not through books or teachings, but through being, through presence, through showing up to each moment exactly as it is. No more resisting, no more fighting, just breathing, just being. That is the true power of the reborn soul. It doesn't need to force anything. It simply aligns. It simply aligns. And in that allowing, miracles unfold. You begin to speak differently. You listen more. You judge less. You forgive deeper. You no longer need to be right, you just want to be real. You no longer need to win, you just want to connect. And people feel it. They feel the depth in your presence. They may not know your story, but they sense your fire. They feel your stillness, because it's not just what you say, it's who you've become. And who you've become is not a version of the old you. It is a completely new being. A soul forged in the furnace of experience. You are not here to go back. You are here to go in, to go deep, to live from the core. And from that core you begin to create, to serve, to love, not because you're trying to prove something, but because you are something. You know something. You've become something that can no longer be taken from you. Have you ever wondered why the fire came when it did? Why your life had to fall apart in that exact way? Maybe it wasn't random. Maybe it was the only way to wake you up, to bring you back to your soul, to shake off everything that was never really yours. Maybe the fire wasn't the end of the story, it was the threshold, the doorway, the sacred gate into the life you were always meant to live. So now you walk differently. You feel differently. You carry a light that wasn't there before, not because someone gave it to you, but because you earned it. You became it. And now you are a lighthouse for others still trapped in the storm. You don't need to fix them. You don't need to convince them. You simply be. And in your being, they remember. They remember that they too can rise. The spiritual life of people who were burned and reborn is not about perfection. It is about presence. It is not about avoiding pain. It's about transmuting it, alchemizing it, turning it into fuel for awakening. And in doing so, we become vessels of grace, not because we are flawless, but because we are real. And in this world, real is rare. Real is sacred. Real is what heals. So I ask you now, in the quiet of your heart, what did your fire strip away? What was burned that never truly belonged to you? And what rose from those ashes that is more you than anything that came before? Because you are not who you were. You are not what happened to you. You are the energy that survived, the light that endured, the soul that said yes to life, even when life said no. That is your power. That is your truth. That is your rebirth. There is a quiet revolution that begins the moment we accept that we are no longer who we once were. When we stop trying to rebuild the old life and instead allow the new one to unfold. This is the second half of the journey, the part the world doesn't teach us how to navigate. It is not about survival anymore. It is about embodiment. You've risen from the ashes, yes, But now what? Now comes the deeper work, the spiritual life of living as one who has been remade. Living after the fire is not about pretending the fire never happened. It's about honoring it, carrying it as part of your story, not your identity. The fire does not define you, but it shaped you. And that shaping has given you eyes that see differently. You no longer just look at people, you see into them. You see their pain even when they smile. You hear their wounds behind their words. You feel their longing because you've touched that same place in yourself. And that makes you dangerous in the most beautiful way, because you carry truth now, and truth shakes everything it touches. You begin to realize that rebirth is not a single event. It is a way of life. Every day, you are burning off something that no longer serves you. Every day, you are being invited to surrender a little more, to soften a little more, to trust a little more. And each time you do, something deeper awakens. You are no longer living from the surface. You are living from your center. And from that center, everything becomes sacred. Even the mundane becomes a meditation. Washing dishes, walking the dog, holding a loved one's hand. These are no longer tasks, they are rituals. Because you're present now, you're here. You feel things. You notice the wind. You listen to your breath. You cry when beauty catches you off guard. That's what happens after the fire. It burns away the numbness. It makes you raw enough to feel again. And in that rawness, life becomes holy. But let's be honest, carrying this depth is not always easy. There are days when the world feels too loud, too fast, too shallow. You may feel like a stranger in a world that no longer fits. And that's okay. That's part of the path. The reborn are often misunderstood because you no longer play by the same rules. You don't seek validation the way you used to. You don't chase what others chase. You're not impressed by power or success. You're drawn to presence, to realness, to soul. And because of that, your circles change. Some people fall away. Others are drawn to you like moths to a flame, not because you're trying to shine, but because you are. Your light is not performative. It's not forced. It's the natural radiance of someone who has walked through darkness and returned with their essence intact. And that kind of light cannot be faked. It cannot be bought. It can only be earned. Have you noticed how the things that used to destroy you don't hold the same power anymore? Not because you're invincible, but because you've been through worse. You've seen yourself in the mirror of your own undoing, and you didn't look away. You faced it. You wept. You broke. And then you rebuilt not the old self, but the true one. And now you are unshakable in a way that's quiet, not loud. Steady, not rigid. Soft, but strong. The spiritual life after rebirth is a dance of paradoxes. You feel more deeply, but suffer less. You care more, but attach less. You give more, but lose nothing. Because your source is no longer external. It flows from within. You've tapped into something timeless. Something the fire couldn't touch. The soul, the essence. The eternal spark that was never lost, only buried. And now that you've found it, you protect it. Not with walls, but with discernment. You don't give your energy away to anything that drains you. You don't chase love, you are love. You don't argue with ignorance, you embody wisdom. You don't react to chaos, you create stillness. This is the power of living spiritually after rebirth. You no longer seek to change the space you walk into, simply by the quality of your presence. But don't mistake this peace for passivity. You are not here to escape the world. You are here to be in it, fully awake, to walk with both fire and grace. to speak truth, even when your voice shakes, to love wildly, even when your heart remembers the pain, to live authentically, even when it costs you comfort. That is the calling of the reborn, to live as truth, no matter the price. You also begin to serve, not because you're trying to be good, but because you can't not. You've seen suffering. You've been suffering. And now your compassion is not theoretical, it is embodied. You don't pity others. You sit with them. You hold space. You listen. You understand. You become the very presence you once needed in your darkest hour. And in doing so, you become medicine. Have you asked yourself, who am I now that I've been through the fire? What gifts did I bring back from the ashes? What wisdom lives in my scars? What strength lives in my silence? These questions are not for your mind, they are for your soul. And when you sit with them, truly sit, something sacred will answer. Sometimes in words, sometimes in feelings, sometimes in a knowing that has no language, only truth. You don't need to hurry anymore. You don't need to prove anything. You are no longer trying to get somewhere, you are here. And this here is full of God, full of truth, full of light. Every breath is a holy act. Every smile is a prayer. Every act of kindness is a ripple of healing. You are not just living, you are radiating. And that radiance is not yours alone. It belongs to everyone you touch. A fire didn't destroy you. It revealed you. It peeled back the layers of who you thought you were and showed you who you are. And now, you carry that truth everywhere you go. Not as a burden, but as a gift. Not as a story of pain, but as a testament of power. You are proof that transformation is real, that rebirth is possible, that even in a world full of chaos, something sacred can rise. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be real, to be whole, to be awake, to be love. And love is not weak. It is the most powerful force in existence. It is what carries you through the fire. It is what brings you back to life. It is what you now embody with every breath. And so I leave you with this deep question. What if everything that burned you was not meant to break you, but to birth you? What if you didn't survive the fire to return to who you were, but to become who you've always been? Because you are reborn, and you are sacred. Not because of what you believe, but because of who you've become through the journey. You are not just a survivor of the fire. You are the living flame.